There comes a moment when life stops whispering and begins declaring boldly that you are meant for more. Not someday when conditions improve, but now. The invisible forces around you are already arranging the path, waiting only for one thing: your recognition of the power within you. Today, I will show you how to win the game of life by aligning yourself with the laws that have been governing your good from the beginning. When you begin to understand that your words are not simple sounds carried on the air but living forces that shape the experiences you walk into, your entire relationship with life changes. Every sentence you speak carries a blueprint, a direction, a command that travels ahead of you and prepares the conditions you will eventually meet. Many people move through the world unaware that they are constantly prophesying their own future with casual phrases, emotional reactions, and habitual statements. They claim things they do not want, affirm limitations they do not believe in, and describe realities they would never consciously choose. Yet the law responds without judgment, returning to exactly what has been sent out. To truly win in life, you must begin treating every word as a precise instrument of creation. You choose your expressions the way an artist chooses colors or a musician chooses notes, knowing that each choice adds to the composition you will soon experience. The power of your word lies in its ability to bypass the noise of circumstance and speak directly to the deeper creative force that shapes your life. When you declare something with conviction, you override fear, silence doubt, and introduce a new pattern into your consciousness. This pattern begins to materialize in ways that may appear accidental or mysterious. Yet nothing is accidental when you understand the principle at work. Your word becomes a magnet that draws matching experiences toward you, often through avenues you never could have predicted. Someone overhears you and offers an opportunity. A door opens where none existed before, or a situation shifts in your favor without any effort on your part. The moment you speak with intention, unseen energies begin to rearrange themselves to match your declaration. Most people wait for their circumstances to improve before they allow themselves to speak confidently. They want evidence before they speak victory. They want results before they declare abundance. They want assurance before they speak peace. But this is the opposite of how the law works. Speech must always precede manifestation. You speak not because conditions are right, but because you are creating the conditions that will become right. The word is the seed planted in the soil of the mind. If the seed is strong, the harvest will be strong. If the seed is careless, the harvest will reflect that carelessness. So choose your words as if the universe is listening, because it is always listening. When you speak what you desire rather than what you fear, you elevate your entire vibration. You move from reaction into creation. You stop complaining about what is and start commanding what will be. Complaints may feel momentarily satisfying, but they are costly because they reinforce the very conditions you want to escape. Every time you describe your lack, your struggle, or your frustration, you inject new life into those conditions. They grow roots, they expand, they persist because you have fed them with the force of your word. But when you speak of abundance, solutions, clarity, and opportunities even before they appear, you feed the possibilities that are waiting to unfold. They grow toward you with increasing strength, and life becomes a reflection of your spoken expectation. Your words are your wand, because they do not simply describe your reality, they summon it. If you want to transform a situation, begin with the way you speak about it. Replace phrases that carry fear or limitation with statements that carry certainty and expansion. Instead of saying you cannot find a way, declare that the way is already prepared. Instead of saying nothing ever works out, declare that everything is falling into place with perfect timing. Instead of saying things are difficult, declare that solutions are arriving with ease. Speak as if the result has already been delivered. Speak as if the door is already open. Speak as if the answer is already yes. With every word, you carve the path you will walk. The second keynote reveals another profound truth about life, one that operates silently beneath all your actions and decisions. What you imagine, you invite. The images you hold in your inner world are more influential than any effort you make in the outer world. Imagination is not a place for idle dreaming. It is a workshop of creation where the blueprint of your future is designed. Every picture you allow to take root in your mind becomes a request sent to the unseen realm, and the realm begins to respond with opportunities, ideas, and events that match the image you are nurturing. When your imagination is filled with fear, loss, or limitation, life mirrors those pictures. But when your imagination is filled with abundance, success, and possibility. Those images begin to take shape in the material world. Imagination is a magnet that draws experiences toward you. It does not wait for permission or conditions. It begins working the moment you sustain a picture with emotion and belief. Many people unknowingly imagine worst-case scenarios, rehearse fears, or entertain visions of disappointment long before anything actually occurs. These inner rehearsals become invitations for those undesirable experiences to appear. The mind does not distinguish between fantasy and reality. It accepts whatever image you feed it and begins forming habits, reactions, and expectations around that picture. This is why you must choose your mental images with deliberate attention. To imagine clearly, you must silence the voice of doubt that questions every possibility. Doubt distorts the picture, weakens the signal, and delays the manifestation. Instead of entertaining doubt, create a mental scene that represents the life you desire and visit it often. See yourself stepping into it with confidence. Feel the emotions that would accompany that reality. Experience the joy, the relief, the gratitude, the ease as if it is already happening. The more vivid your inner picture, the faster life moves to fulfill it. Imagination backed by emotion becomes a powerful creative force that no obstacle can stop. Hold your vision steady even when appearances contradict it. The outer world always shifts last. The inner picture shifts first. When you maintain the inner image with faith, you give life a clear signal to follow. Doubt tries to pull you back into old patterns, but persistence is the key. Return to your vision again and again until it becomes natural to you. When the image feels real in your mind, it will soon feel real in your life. Your imagination is not a place for escape. It is a place for construction. Whatever you build there will soon appear in some form in your daily experience. Every blessing you have ever received began as an unseen picture. Every success you have achieved was first formed in thought. Every solution that found you was born in the quiet space of imagination before it took shape in the world. When you learn to guard your inner pictures, you learn to guard your destiny. When your words and imagination work together, the results become unstoppable. You speak what you desire, and you picture it vividly. You declare it with confidence and you feel it as though it is already unfolding. You send out a signal with your word and strengthen that signal with your imagination. Life responds swiftly to such clarity because nothing is divided within you. You become aligned, focused, and receptive to the opportunities that match your vision. The game of life begins to shift in your favor because you are no longer playing blindly. You are creating consciously, using the two greatest tools you possess, the spoken word and the directed imagination. Faith is the quiet force that moves mountains long before a single stone shifts. Many people misunderstand faith and imagine it as a passive hope or a wish for things to improve. But true faith is a spiritual strategy, a deliberate choice to align with the unseen good long before it becomes visible. Faith is the ability to walk through a situation with calm assurance, because you recognize that the power within you is greater than the conditions around you. When logic reaches its limit and reason presents no solution, faith steps forward and opens doors no human effort could pry open. It acts as a bridge from what seems impossible to what becomes inevitable. Faith does not wait for circumstances to provide reassurance. It becomes the reassurance that circumstances will follow. Most people rely on their physical senses for validation. They trust what they see and allow appearances to dictate how they think and feel. But this approach traps them in cycles of fear and limitation because they are responding to effects rather than learning to influence the cause. Faith shifts your attention from the visible to the invisible source of all creation. It reminds you that everything you experience externally has its origin in the unseen realm of thought, belief, and spiritual law. When you cultivate faith, you are no longer swayed by temporary setbacks or conditions that appear immovable. You begin to trust the deeper process at work, the unfolding of events that are aligning for your highest good even when you cannot yet see the full picture. Faith acts like a key that unlocks opportunities waiting just beyond your current awareness. It calls forth answers you have not yet imagined. It compels synchronicities to arise at the perfect moment. It invites people, circumstances, and resources into your life in ways that seem astonishing to those who live by chance. Faith knows that the universe is responsive, intentional, and precise. When you operate from faith, you stop chasing outcomes and begin attracting them. You stop pushing against obstacles and begin watching them dissolve. You move through life with a quiet power that others may not understand, but they recognize the results. To activate faith as a master strategy, you must train your mind to rise above doubt. Doubt is natural, but it must not be allowed to dominate your inner world. Every doubt presents a choice: surrender to fear or return to trust. Each time you choose trust, your faith grows stronger. You learn to replace anxious thoughts with confident declaration. You remind yourself that the path ahead is already made ready, even if the steps are not yet visible. You choose to believe that every delay hides a greater arrangement taking place on your behalf. When you hold faith long enough, circumstances begin to shift in ways that reflect your inner certainty. The outer world bends to meet the conviction you hold. This leads to the fourth keynote, which is the refusal to be impressed by appearances. Appearances can be deceiving because they show only the surface level of reality. They reflect old beliefs, old patterns, and old conditions that have already run their course. But many people treat appearances as final and allow them to determine how they think and feel. They see lack and assume lack must continue. They see struggle and assume it defines their future. They see obstacles and assume they have reached a dead end. Yet these conditions are nothing more than temporary expressions of past thinking. They have no power except the power you give them through your belief. To refuse being impressed by appearances is not denial, it is mastery. It is the recognition that the outer world is always the last to change. The inner world shifts first, and the outer follows. When you stop reacting to what you see and start responding from what you know within, you take control of the creative process. You become the cause rather than the effect. You stop giving power to situations that had no real authority over your destiny. You learn to hold your vision steady even when conditions argue against it. Most of the defeat people experience in life comes from their immediate reaction to appearances. They see something unwanted and instantly accept it as truth. They declare that things are not working out. They speak disappointment. They feel discouragement. They reinforce the very outcome they wish to avoid. But when you refuse to be impressed by appearances, you interrupt this cycle. You choose not to accept the surface as the final story. You look through the condition rather than at it. You remind yourself that everything visible is temporary, and everything desired is possible. This refusal is powerful because it prevents the current situation from shaping your future. Instead, your belief shapes your future. You may be facing difficulty, but you do not allow difficulty to dictate your next thought or decision. You may be surrounded by uncertainty, but you do not allow uncertainty to control your expectations. You may be confronted with delays, but you do not allow delays to weaken your confidence. You hold firm to the reality you know belongs to you. You speak as if the breakthrough is already secured. You imagine the outcome you desire. You continue to walk forward with the grounded certainty that what you are seeking is already seeking you. When you combine the strength of faith with the ability to look beyond appearances, you step into a level of mastery that transforms your entire life. You no longer panic when things shift unexpectedly. You no longer doubt when results take time. You no longer feel threatened by setbacks, because you understand that no external condition can override the power of the inner conviction you hold. You become steady, focused, and unshakable. People around you may wonder how you remain calm in situations that would overwhelm others. But your calmness is your power. It keeps you anchored in the truth that every condition is fluid and can change in an instant when aligned with the right thought and belief. The world responds differently to someone who refuses to be impressed by appearances. Opportunities begin appearing where none seemed possible. Unexpected solutions present themselves with perfect timing. New pathways open. Limitations dissolve. People are drawn to you because they sense your stability and strength. You become a magnet for breakthroughs because your inner state is no longer ruled by the fluctuations of your outer environment. You walk by faith and not by sight. And sight eventually rises to match your faith. When life sends challenges, you do not crumble, you rise. When life sends delays, you do not despair. You trust. When life sends confusing circumstances, you do not react. You remain aligned with the deeper truth that all things are being arranged for your highest good. This inner steadiness is what allows you to win the game of life. You are no longer playing from fear or guessing about the next step. You are moving with purpose, guided by faith, and protected from the illusions of appearances. Faith teaches you that possibilities are endless. Refusing to be impressed by appearances teaches you that temporary conditions cannot hold back your destiny. Together, these truths lift you into a life where you create rather than react, where you command rather than fear, and where you rise above circumstances rather than being shaped by them. Every delay carries hidden good. But most people cannot see this because they are conditioned to associate waiting with disappointment. They believe that if something does not happen on their preferred timetable, it is a sign that it may never happen at all. Yet life does not operate according to human impatience. There is a larger orchestration taking place at all times, and when something is delayed, it is because it is being arranged in a way that will serve you more perfectly than you could imagine. Delay is not denial, it is preparation. It is alignment. It is the invisible clearing of obstacles you do not even know exist, the weaving of detail that must fit together before the manifestation can arrive in its complete and ideal form. When you understand that delays are purposeful, your entire emotional response to life changes. You no longer feel anxious when something takes longer than expected because you trust that timing is not working against you but for you. You begin to realize that if something has not shown up yet, it is because something better is being prepared. You recognize that the path is being set, the people are being positioned, and situations are being adjusted so that when your good arrives, it arrives with ease. Instead of pushing, forcing, or worrying, you learn to wait with intention and expectancy. This kind of waiting is not passive, it is powerful. It is filled with faith. And faith always accelerates the unfolding of events. There are countless moments in life when what seems like a setback is actually an act of protection. A missed opportunity may be saving you from a situation that would have limited you. A paused plan may be sparing you from unnecessary struggle. A slowed outcome may be directing you towards something far more rewarding than the original plan. When life delays something, it is often because it wants to deliver it in a way that brings greater stability, greater joy, and greater fulfillment. But because you cannot see behind the curtain of events, you assume something has gone wrong. Instead, everything is going right. When you begin trusting delays, you quiet the inner fear that something is slipping away from you. You stop trying to control every detail and start recognizing that life is intelligent enough to coordinate what belongs to you. This trust creates a calmness that allows you to perceive opportunities that anxiety would have blinded you to. When you relax into the flow, ideas arise that would not have been accessible in a state of worry. Solutions appear that would have remained hidden if you were stressed and impatient. Life responds more favorably to a calm mind than to a frantic one. The calm mind enters alignment, and alignment draws outcomes with far more ease than effort ever could. Every delay contains a gift waiting to be revealed. Sometimes it is wisdom. Sometimes it is strength. Sometimes it is clarity about what you truly want. Sometimes it is simply a better version of the very thing you asked for. When you look back on moments that frustrated you in the past, you often see how perfectly everything actually worked out. You find yourself grateful for the timing, the pauses, the redirections. You realize that if things had happened earlier, you would not have been prepared. You would not have appreciated the blessing. You would not have maximized the opportunity. Timing is not accidental. It is divine precision in motion. The more you trust it, the more life flows in harmony with your desires. As you embrace the idea that every delay carries hidden good, you naturally step into the final keynote, expecting victory as your natural state. Expectation is one of the most powerful forces you possess, yet many people expect disappointment, setback, or struggle without realizing that expectation shapes outcome. To expect victory means you assume that life is on your side. You assume that things work out for you. You assume that situations resolve in your favor. You assume that solutions arrive, doors open, and opportunities present themselves in perfect timing. When this becomes your mental posture, you begin to walk through life differently. You radiate confidence, and confidence attracts everything aligned with it. Expecting victory does not mean you never face challenges. It means you face challenges with a knowing that you will overcome them. You stop seeing obstacles as endings and start seeing them as temporary moments within a larger story that is unfolding for your benefit. You do not crumble at the first sign of difficulty, because you understand that victory is already woven into the situation. You carry yourself with the quiet assurance that something good is coming out of every experience. This shifts your vibration completely. Fear loses its grip on you. Doubt weakens. Anxiety fades. You begin to operate from a place of inner strength that influences every choice and every response. When you expect victory, your energy becomes magnetic. You naturally attract people and circumstances that match your confidence. Opportunities that once seemed distant begin moving toward you. Challenges that others see as insurmountable become stepping stones in your path. You carry an inner certainty that others can feel. You become the kind of person who walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere because your belief in a positive outcome is so strong that it influences everyone around you. Life mirrors this energy by bringing you victories, breakthroughs, and unexpected blessings. Many people hesitate to expect victory because they fear disappointment. They think that lowering their expectations will protect them from pain. But lowering your expectations only invites lesser outcomes. Expectation is not a fragile hope. It is a declaration of what you believe belongs to you. It is an energetic signature that tells life the direction in which you are moving. When you expect victory, you rise above the mindset of survival and enter the mindset of creation. You stop reacting to what is and start building what will be. You live with purpose rather than fear. Living in the consciousness of victory means you step forward each day with intention. You make decisions from clarity rather than insecurity. You speak with authority rather than hesitation. You trust your inner guidance rather than second-guessing every step. You begin noticing signs of progress, where before you saw only obstacles. You interpret delays as alignment rather than rejection. You see the hand of life guiding you, supporting you, and preparing you. This awareness keeps you centered even when external conditions fluctuate. As victory becomes your expectation, discipline becomes your companion. You guard your thoughts, protect your words, and nurture your imagination. You refuse to entertain stories of failure. You reject inner dialogue that undermines your purpose. You choose environments and influences that strengthen your conviction. You build habits that support your vision rather than sabotage it. Every action becomes intentional. And intention creates momentum. Momentum builds power, and power creates outcome. When victory becomes natural to you, fear becomes unnatural. Worry becomes unnecessary. Self-doubt becomes unfamiliar. You rise into a version of yourself that sees possibilities everywhere. You approach life with an open heart, a steady mind, and a spirit that anticipates good. This expectation reshapes your relationships, your opportunities, your decisions, and your results. It allows you to move through life with peace rather than pressure. You begin to notice that life responds differently when you carry the energy of someone who expects to win. Victory then becomes less about achieving isolated goals and more about embodying a state of being. You become someone who moves with purpose, speaks with clarity, imagines boldly, believes deeply, and trusts completely. You walk through difficulties with grace and emerge stronger each time. You inspire others without trying because your energy demonstrates what is possible when someone chooses to believe in the power within them. You live every day knowing that good is coming, that alignment is unfolding, and that nothing can block what you are destined to receive. In this mindset, you wake with expectancy and rest with gratitude. You stop chasing and start allowing. You stop fearing and start knowing. You stop doubting and start claiming what belongs to you. You begin to understand that victory is not an event but a way of living, a way of thinking, a way of moving through the world that transforms every experience you encounter.